Alright YouTube, welcome back to another video. And as you can see by the title, and as you can see, I'm here with my 2003 Monte Carlo. And I want to go ahead and talk about just how I feel about owning this car after having it for about a year. So go ahead and stay tuned because I got a lot to say about it. And I'm going to tell you why I just may be thinking about getting rid of it after having it for a year and going through what I've went through with this car. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the interior of the car and point out some stuff that I like and dislike. And I will definitely say that something about this design, it really called me from the first time I owned a Monte Carlo, and it was a big part of why I purchased this one. And you know, the thing to me with the Monte Carlo, the plastics are definitely cheap, and you know, it's very hard plastics. I don't think there's any soft plastics in the car. But at the same time, I still love the design because there's like lots of like curves and angles, and it just, to me, it looks really nice. And the only thing that really kind of takes away from it in this particular car is the fact that, you know, I have the cloth seats. And you know, if you got a Monte Carlo with the leather seats, I think that even as old as it is, and in this case mine's is 16 years old, it still looks really good. And just the little things like I've added so far, like my steering wheel cover, kind of helps bring out just the little things in the car a little bit more. And you know, just for the sake of what the car came with as far as the sound system, it came with a cassette deck, which you know is way beyond dated. So I've upgraded the radio. You know, I can point out the fact that even in this 03, it's manual dual climate control, but it still has dual climate control. And another thing that's really good about this car, considering it's a two-seater, is you know, I'm recording from the back seat, and you know, just kind of looking and seeing. I'm gonna get myself into an actual seating position, and this seat is all the way back, and as you can see, I definitely have some leg room, some space, if I can kind of definitely get comfortable. And as you can even look and see from this angle right here, you got space, and it's definitely comfortable back here. So you know, an adult passenger will definitely be comfortable riding for a nice road trip if you stuck in the back seat. Now, as I was saying with this particular car, to go along with not having leather seats, it also doesn't have the sunroof. And for me, that's two things that had me feeling like I really didn't want to keep this car. So let me jump to the front seat, and we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about that design with the sleek curves that I was talking about. And we're also going to get into more of what I was just saying about why I really want to get rid of this car. And let's hop to the front seat. All right, now from the front seat, you can definitely see my steering wheel cover that much more. I think it's a real sophisticated steering wheel that goes along with the color of this car, which I feel like, you know, it's somewhat of a tan. I don't know what the official Chevy color is labeled as, but to me, this color makes the Monte Carlo seem just a little bit more sophisticated as far as the styling, as opposed to sporty when you may see a red one or a black one. And also, as I was saying, as far as the curves, you know, up here in the front, you know, you got the nice little MC emblem right here. The curves that I was speaking of right there. You know, the angled dash where it's kind of slightly centered more towards the driver. And even in the, you know, door panels, which again, super hard plastic, but, you know, nice and angled out with, you know, what personally I would look at it and say, if you're into customizing these little air spaces, and you know, just kind of the way it's set up, it'll definitely give you an opportunity to maybe get some lights in between, that ambient lighting, or you know, whatever it is that you want to do to it to kind of give it a custom feel. I think that even though it might be a flaw in the design, it could turn out to work really well for you when it comes down to, you know, you customizing the car yourself. Now, one of the things that I definitely point out as a negative with the MC is the front seat space is a little bit more compromised in comparison to the rear space. Now, I'm a shorter person, I'm only 5'8", so you know, it's not hard for me to find a way to get comfortable in the car. But what I noticed is someone that's a little bit taller, this area right here, the knees are more so hidden up against the dash, and so it's not as comfortable of a fit for someone that's taller. So you know, the compromise to have a nice rear space is the front space is a little bit more limited. but it's still manageable. So, you know, just take that as a note if you're a taller person and you may find yourself being on the passenger side of this car. I think that space as a driver, for whatever reason with this particular Monte Carlo, and this one has the electric seat controls where you can raise it and lower it, manual kind of forward and back as far as, you know, the tilt. But with raising and lowering it, I feel like it took away from somewhat the comfortable, the option to feel comfortable for me personally. And I definitely struggle with, you know, finding a seating position. And something that I used to kind of hear a lot or read a lot about in reviews is where you know, the reviewer would say, you know, it feels like you're sitting on the car as opposed to in the car. And it never really made sense to me until I got this car, and it's a struggle to find that seating position where I don't feel like I'm sitting so far up that I'm not in the car, comfortable and fully relaxed. Like, I've made it work as much as possible, but at the same time, it's definitely not as comfortable as I can get in some other cars or my Challenger. So just keep in mind that for me personally, I do feel like the lack of seat adjustment does play its part, because I feel like you should definitely be able to lower the seat a lot more than it goes. But I guess because of the electronics or electrical, whatever it is beneath it, you know, it can't go as low as, say, the completely manual version of the seat goes. So I don't know, that's just something to keep in mind. And that's kind of sort of one of my only complaints, maybe my only complaint, as far as the interior, outside of stuff that, you know, are options, like I say, sunroof and leather seats, which, you know, with no leather seats, kind of missed out on the option of the heated seats, which I do like in the winter. But it is what it is. The car still has done a really swell job of taking care of me in this time frame. But on that note, let's go ahead and hop to the other side, and let's see how many miles I put on this car, and let's talk about how this car has treated me in this year, and that'll kind of lead into why I'm thinking about it may be time to get rid of it. So let's hop to the driver's side and let's continue the conversation from over there. All right, now from the driver's side, look at a little bit of sun glare, but let's see if we can kind of get this to show. And if it's not showing too clear, we got 87,967 miles on the car, which means when I purchased it a year ago, I got it around 71,000 miles. So in that year, I put basically, let's just say 18,000 miles on the car. And that leads me to talk about what may be the most surprising thing, considering I thought this was a reliable car, just how much money I've had to put into this car since I've owned it. So in this moment, I gotta look dead in the camera when I say this, because this right here, I'm not gonna say it's a shocker, because, you know, as I was saying, I felt like the MC was a reliable car the first time I had it, and this time around, it didn't disappoint. In a year's time with this car, I've put $0 into unexpected maintenance. Now, even at this point, I still haven't had to upgrade the brakes or change the brakes, tires. Haven't had to do any of that yet. The tires I may have to change before winter comes, but, you know, considering how much I drive, like I said, 17,000 miles, and this isn't the only car that I drive, so that's a lot of miles. But with that being said, still haven't had to change the tires yet, because I got pretty good tires when I, you know, purchased the car. No brakes, no battery issues, no electrical issues, like zero issues in a year of driving this car. So I would definitely say kudos to Chevy as far as a build quality, even though, like I said, these plastics and everything on the interior are pretty lame, but the design definitely works, and the fact that they hold strong and you really don't need to do much to keep it, you know, the upkeep. This is a car that I definitely feel like is a keeper. So like I said, if I feel like it's a keeper, I guess you might be wondering at this point why I'm talking about potentially getting rid of it. And that's where I'll go ahead and talk about the fact that, you know, like I said in my last video, I want to go ahead and give away one car each year once I hit 10,000 subscribers. So this is that car. And why do I kind of feel like this is a great car to give away? Number one, it's reliable. So if you want something that, you know, is going to get you from point A to point B, and if you got like your full-time daily driver that you don't want to keep abusing, this is a great car that you can win. Drive it for the winter, drive it on long road trips, whatever the case may be, and then you got an extra car and do whatever you may do with it. But aside from the fact that I feel like, you know, this is well, I definitely believe it's a reliable car. The bigger thing, as far as, you know, when it comes to any YouTube channel or something like that, is I think this car has been underrated as far as, you know, its value in the car community, the car world, because it definitely, it's a front wheel drive car. I mean, this particular one, which is the LS model, only has 180 horses with the V6. So power wise, it's definitely it's weak. And that is another thing that when I originally got the car, I did have some initial regrets, because like I said, I couldn't feel comfortable. I mean, going from the Challenger to this car, I definitely felt like it was such a drastic difference in power, which was obvious, you know, but at the same time, it was like, you know, it's just not what I remember from the first time I had the car. So I was like, sheesh, do I really want to keep this car? But after time, I kind of, you know, appreciated the V6 for what it was. I mean, like I said, 16-year-old car. It did what it did what it was supposed to do, with great fuel economy. And I truly believe, I haven't really tested it out yet, but I would be surprised if it didn't get at least 25 miles to the gallon. And that could be in part because I do a lot of, you know, highway driving, so there's not a lot of stop and start. But either way, 25 miles per gallon on a 16-year-old car with the V6 that does have adequate power, you can't beat that. Now, for this being a giveaway car, what makes it exciting is not how it looks right now, but how it will look by the time I hit that 10,000 subscribers. So I'll stop right now and say, definitely subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber already. Definitely throw in the comment section just any ideas, like if you've had one, you have one, or you want one, what would you like to see done? What have you done to one if you had one? But just, you know, your thoughts on what would make this car stand out, considering the age and the style. You know, what could this car get that'll make it look that much better? I'm definitely going to give my opinion on what I plan on doing. But as I was saying, definitely subscribe, because I definitely want to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and that I think it's like 4,000 hours of watch time, because at that point I'll go ahead and start to get the ad money, which when it comes to modding these cars, that's a big plus. Because, you know, by the time I hit the 10,000 subscriber mark, I want to have this car in looking the way I envision it could look. So at the peak of what I could, you know, envision, that's the way I want it to look when I'm giving it away. And I want to step on to the outside just a second and talk about what I want to do to the car. But again, the first step is, let's get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So definitely, you know, like the video, subscribe, share the video, and really get people watching. Because, you know, if you're into cars and you definitely want to win a free car, that's definitely a part of what this channel will be about going forward. And this, again, is the first one that I feel like is a good idea to give away. Because as you see some of the mods that I will be doing in, you know, future videos, you can definitely see why I feel like this is an underrated car. And by the time it's at its peak, it's going to be a top-notch 16-year-old badass car. Let's go ahead and take a step to the outside, and I'm going to show you just what I plan on doing and why I think it'll make that much more of a difference, and why it'll be a great giveaway car. So let's jump to it. From the outside, the one thing I can definitely say is there's not a bad angle on this car, in my opinion. Like the way they have like the curves, or not necessarily curves, but the lines that kind of flow through the front, and then again, as you can see, it kind of starts back up in the back. It's a very nice design to me, with the lights. Now I like the bumper on the new ones, that I believe like 05, 06 model and up to 07 when they stopped making them. But either way, I do kind of like the lights, but I do like the front bumper on the newer ones with the Chevy emblem instead of the MC emblem. It just looked a little bit more sporty to me, but at the same time, you know, as far as, you know, how it's styled, it still looks good. But when we talk about upgrades, clearly we're gonna make sure that this paint, which is, you know, again, for a 16-year-old car, top notch. I might keep the color because I really love the sophisticated, sporty look that it has combined, you know, as one. But at the same time, we're gonna make sure that the paint is top notch. These little dings that are on the car, we're definitely gonna address that, and make sure that that paint is nice and smooth. But more importantly, the things that'll make a difference, number one, actually, let's go ahead and start with the tint. Not necessarily the cheapest thing, but definitely far from expensive. And when you look at what tint would do to this car, when you get the black with the windows, this bronze kind of a paint job, and even if I, for temporarily, just for the sake of curiosity, if I just painted these little hubcaps black, just to kind of see how the black with the windows, you know, the bronze with the paint, and then black with the wheels will look. I just might do that just to kind of see how it'll look. But eventually we're gonna go ahead and upgrade the wheel package all together, and we're gonna go with either an 18-inch or a 20-inch, you know, lightweight wheel presentation, and get some red in there somewhere, because you know I want the red. I don't know where I'm gonna do it yet, but we're gonna get maybe some red here or some red here. Go with the black. I did have a front Chevy plate that had the kind of the black and the red, and I'm gonna put that back on as well. But like I said, for sure we're going with the black wheels, some kind of red in the car, black with the tints of course, and I just think that will be a real nice look. And if you're wondering why I'm going with the red, I mean, we got the little bit of red with the lights. Red and black seem to always look good, and then you kind of, I just think that'll be like the balance when it comes to the paint color with the wheels, just to make it stand out that much more. But as you can see, again, this is what we're looking at right now. Those are the main two mods I'm thinking of, but definitely not the only mods I'm thinking about. So as I was saying, as the subscriber count grows and that ad money starts to come in, what I'm looking to do, go to the interior. Now, I added front speakers and the radio, as I said, just because that was definitely needed. But the next thing, that subscriber count and that view count grows, that ad money really starts to roll in before I hit the 10K for the subscribers. What I also would do is I would add sunroof and leather seats, you know, and it'll definitely be like a color combination of maybe some tan and black, or brown and black, whatever this combination is. Like I got with the steering wheel cover, might take that and roll with the seats and do something like that. Haven't really quite thought about that combination yet, but it's definitely something that as I start to upgrade and do the mods, it'll be something that I consider. So for the most part, I'm definitely not getting rid of the MC because it disappointed me. I just feel like this will be the great first start as far as a vehicle that I can give away. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. Again, let's go ahead and take one quick little swift look around on the inside. And I'm definitely gonna save this, because if I do upgrade the seats, we're gonna get that good before and after. But this is it right here. So go ahead and jump into that comment section, and let's go ahead and talk about what you would do to this car, and the MC owners that already have one. Let's talk about what you've done to the car and how much of a difference it's made as far as how it originally looked and what it looks like now. But either way it go, that's it for this video, and I look forward to catch you in the next one. I'm out.